Welcome back. I'm Brooke Kirchhoffer alongside Nick Underhill. 12th ranked LSU, now 13th ranked nationally, sneaks out a win against Arkansas at home, 34-31. This one came down to under a minute to play, LSU kicking a field goal to beat Arkansas in a rivalry game, the battle for the boot. They are now heading to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. This is a top 20 matchup, first time in a while, and to me, this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire. It's another rivalry game. You never really know how these things go. This one for the Magnolia Bowl, for me, it's can LSU score early and often and keep up with Ole Miss, as both of them lead the SEC right now in scoring.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me. Look, my thing with LSU is if they got these receivers, I feel like they got a chance in any game. They're playing unbelievably. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors are just kind of both out of their minds right now. It's kind of interesting because, like, I thought Brian Thomas was coming on week one, and it was a question out on my list for T-Bob, and I scratched it because they lost. But, like, I kind of thought he looked great then, and he keeps playing really, really good. He bailed Jaden Daniels out on a terrible pass and turned it into a huge gain in this last game, kind of came back to the ball. But I like the way both these guys are playing right now, and if you do got to go into a shootout, at least you got two really good weapons to lean on.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors has been awesome for LSU, and it seems like their running game is getting going. Logan Diggs had 97 rushing yards against Arkansas. Of course, Jaden Daniels being the dual quarterback he's going to run the ball a lot. So is Ole Miss's quarterback, Jackson Dart. You and I were at that Ole Miss Tulane game. I don't know if Ole Miss is the same team they were that week, but man, it's one of those things where some people, I think LSU is a 2.5-point favorite going on the road, but this could be one of those where Ole Miss just puts it away early and LSU just can't keep up. This cannot be LSU from the Florida State game. This needs to be the LSU from the Mississippi State game, not even LSU from the Arkansas game. Jaden Daniels is going to have to find those guys early and often.
Yeah, and like you said, Ole Miss is going to stress out that front. The quarterback can run. They have one of the best running backs in the nation. He had 1,500 yards last year, I believe. Someone that NFL teams are extremely high on. So that's something that's going to be tough for them too. They're going to have to be sound. They're going to have to tackle. They're going to have to be on point. I mean, I think we've seen good things from the LSU front, but like this is going to be a stress test for sure. And if there's any phrase, I think they're going to find it a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be another game sort of like this one. At least LSU showed that they have the character to kind of hang in a tight game. I don't know that if they expected to be this tight with Arkansas, but they were, and they stood in there and they found a way to win. So at least if you do get in another game like this, when you're in the huddle, you can look at one another and say, like, all right, we just did this. Like, we know we're good. We can win a game like this. So I feel like it was a good test for him, but this one's going to be a little bit tougher, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and if you remember, Jaden Daniels really shocked Ole Miss last year in Baton Rouge, beating Ole Miss 45-20. LSU was unranked at the time. Ole Miss was ranked 7th, I believe. So LSU has proven that they can at least come at this Ole Miss team and keep up with them and even blow it out of the gates with scoring 45 points. You mentioned Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. They both had 130 receiving yards apiece. I believe Malik Neighbors just had just over 130 receiving yards. I mentioned Logan Diggs is coming along. It seems like the offense is figuring it out. My question is, when is this defense going to really put it together? We're still kind of seeing guys figure out their roles. Of course, a huge blow with losing one of the guys that's been incredibly valuable in their linebacker room. So we'll see if this team can continue to keep up. But linebacker Greg Penn, you watch the tape. This is a guy who has come along and been a leader for this defense.
Yeah, no, he's looking good. It's the secondary that's concerning. Yeah. Like, they've been an issue the whole entire season. And if you're in a game that is a shootout, it's scary. Like, I don't know. So I feel like that's where they're going to have to really kind of come together a little bit. But Ole Miss, they can stretch a team out a little bit. So we're going to see how it goes. How do you feel about it coming off of this one?
My thing is, look, rivalry games in the SEC really mean something. If there's anything I've learned from covering SEC teams and even just being on the field and the environment that's there during these rivalry games, you can be, I don't care where you're ranked, if you're unranked, there is a dog in the fight at all times in these rivalry games. It can go one way or the other in a hurry. And Ole Miss, to me, is coming in pissed off. They just got beat by Alabama on the road. They're going to be coming back home looking to put it away. Ole Miss lost to Alabama 24-10. To me, the Rebels really have something to prove, but Brian Kelly is still trying to prove to this fan base that, look, like, we can continue to climb the rankings. We can maybe get back to being close to playoff contention. We'll see what happens with LSU and the way they did drop one they went from 12th to 13th, because I think that Arkansas game, it being so close and Arkansas is unranked, I don't know. I could see Ole Miss pulling the upset off at home, which it's hard to, I don't even like saying that they would be an upset. I know on the rankings it's set up that way, but no, Ole Miss is going to give LSU a hard time, and I can't wait to talk to T-Bob about it. We are going to bring him in to break down this matchup.
Are you ready to experience the magic of Mardi Gras in a whole new way? Welcome to UniqueNolaThrows.com, where they're reimagining the Mardi Gras throw tradition. At UniqueNolaThrows.com, they offer distinctive throws that serve not just as festive accessories, but as keepsakes to cherish beyond the Mardi Gras season. Their products are carefully curated to capture the Mardi Gras spirit in every detail, from light-up headbands that illuminate the night to vibrant scrunchies that add a pop of color to any ensemble. They're committed to keeping their throws affordable, making it easier for everyone to hold a piece of Mardi Gras magic in their hands. Because they believe that every throw counts, they want everyone to experience the joy of giving and receiving a unique and thoughtful throw. They invite you to join them in creating a new narrative for Mardi Gras. UniqueNolaThrows.com is a platform for everyone to express their love for Mardi Gras in a thoughtful manner. They're inspired by the happiness, the camaraderie, and the passion that Mardi Gras stirs in all of us. Visit Unique Nola Throws today to explore their fresh collection and find the perfect keepsakes for your next throw. What could be more thrilling than adding to the carnival atmosphere with items that will be cherished long after the parade? Together, let's redefine Mardi Gras, making each parade more memorable, sustainable, and exciting. UniqueNolaThrows.com, where every throw counts and the spirit of Mardi Gras is alive in each and every one of us. UniqueNolaThrows.com, where the essence of Mardi Gras lives on.
Joined now by T-Bob Hebert, former LSU offensive lineman. You can find him on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge and Snaps. Be sure to check that out. Probably having too much fun on that podcast, but we love seeing the clips on social media. It seems to be doing well. T-Bob, first things first, let's get an update on Greg Brooks. Brian Kelly said that he's progressing and seemingly doing maybe better or from what they originally expected. And man, the outpouring of support for that kid has just been incredible to see.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and it was definitely one of the better parts of the press conference on Monday, and the SEC availability on Wednesday was to hear that Greg is progressing, that the doctors are happy, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what you want to hear, the experts of the situation. It remains a situation, though, that is, to me, obviously, like we said, very scary, gives you perspective about life and everything, because with it, there is also kind of an undertone of, but, let's take this one day at a time. This is it is a long road to recovery, but any positive movement is the best news. And so, yes, outside of the game, which doesn't really matter in perspective, Greg Brooks seems to be recovering well. And that's what we'll continuously update and check on throughout the year.
Love to hear that. All right, let's jump into this game. Why was it so close between LSU and Arkansas coming down to the wire?
So I came on this show last week and obviously felt very confident about LSU winning big, right? Anytime you have that analysis, you got to say, okay, where was I wrong? I don't know why I'm saying this so much this week, because I've never said it before in my life, but I keep looking for the fly in the ointment, right? Which sounds so fun to say, doesn't it? But I can't. So I went looking for the fly, and where did my analysis go so wrong? And I think there were two clear areas in which I was guilty of not giving enough credit or respect. And the first was the offensive line, because against BYU, I went back and I looked at my BYU Arkansas film notes, and at the beginning I was writing very glowingly about the offensive line, and by the end of the notes I completely turned on them, right? So I was guilty of, okay, I saw the best and the worst, and I ignored all the best and I leaned into the worst, right? Whereas the truth of that O-line was better than I gave it credit for. And then I would say where I most screwed up was KJ Jefferson. It was kind of like the O-line evaluation, only more so, right? I used years of good KJ evidence, or I didn't use years of good KJ evidence. I ignored that in lieu of a bit of a run of bad here, right? So I learned my lesson firsthand, because KJ Jefferson played his ass off last Saturday at Death Valley. He created with his legs, big plays through the air, constantly found the soft spot in the zones, ran the RPO game to perfection. I mean, is a batted ball down away from another 50-yard touchdown. KJ Jefferson did everything that he could to beat the Tigers in Death Valley on Saturday. It's just that in the end, Jaden Daniels and that Tiger offense are just too much.
What are your thoughts on Brian Thomas? Is he kind of do you think he's the real deal, or are you buying on him? I was actually going to ask you about him after the Florida State game, and the game was so shitty that I just kind of abandoned the question, but he keeps showing up for me.
So I was someone, and and it's funny that you say that, because I was very critical of the LSU receivers before the season started, in that it felt like the third or fourth year in a row where we were kind of crowning them when there wasn't like actually that much to write home about, right? Especially last year, where it was like, this is probably the best receiver group in the entire country. And then like Kayshawn ends up being disappointing. Malik ends up being really good, but it's an offense that features like 7.5 yards per attempt, no real over. And so I was like, okay, look, man, I'm sick of talking about it. Go out there and prove it. Well, right now, Nick, to your point, you look at SEC rankings, second in the conference right now in yards per game is Malik Neighbors. He's got 131 per. He's leading the conference in catches with 32. He's leading the conference in touchdowns with 5. Right there, 2 spots below him at 4th in the conference, Brian Thomas, 103 a game, 25 catches, tied for the conference lead with 5. And then I've still seen the speed of Chris Hilton and what he can do when they hit him on these deep balls. You saw it against Grambling. You will see it again against a different team as well. Kyron Lacey's definitely taken a step back, but we've seen what he can be. So finally now I'm starting to appreciate the full what I wanted to see out of this wide receiver group. And you're right, Brian Thomas is the big name to highlight here, though, because we knew Malik was going to be the man, but a great group is always going to have at least 2 badass guys, right? Like Washington right now has 3. It's why they're so good and why they've been kicking everybody's ass. LSU now has a certified 2 with, I think, very good talent kind of in the margins underneath him. And the stats reflect it. I mean, Jaden Daniels is leading the conference in yards per game. He's one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the entire country. He's leading the conference in touchdowns. The big thing last year, like I said, 7.5 yards per attempt. Doesn't want to push the ball downfield. Not explosive. It's 10.5 right now. Like, they are attacking defenses when they're able, and they're having a ton of success doing it. So yes, the emergence of Brian Thomas has been massive. I mean, look at the, sorry, I know I'm getting long-winded here, but look at the underthrow from last week, right? Yep. Where like it's a free play and Daniels does a good job of looking, and then trying to snap back and throw, but it's a bad throw. But Brian Thomas, being a great receiver, comes back. Now, it was a free play, so he had a little leeway there, but like Brian Thomas comes back, tips up there, gets it, touchdown. But that's like what you want out of a quarterback. Trust your receiver to make those plays, because that's why they're so good. Like, that's why we think that's how you take advantage of a great receiver. You throw to contest when it's contested, and you like Chris Olave, just go make another one-handed catch.
Yeah, there's a reason why Jaden Daniels won SEC Offensive Player of the Week this week. It was nice to also see the run game come along a little bit with Logan Diggs. Yeah. With the wide receivers playing as well as they are right now, and Logan Diggs seemingly sort of finding his way, is Jaden Daniels going to have one of these just incredible stat-breaking game against Ole Miss this weekend, given they're both leading the SEC in scoring? Is he going to have to put up some really impressive numbers to get a win over Ole Miss?
It's tough to say. I mean, I'll say yes, because the likelihood is that this game is a shootout, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the top 2 teams in terms of scoring per game, and both teams don't have very good defenses right now. And so you would imagine this would turn into a shootout, and Jaden Daniels obviously is the engine behind keeping pace and has been all year long. We talk about kind of feeling like the conductor of the symphony as everything's kind of flowing through him, but you are onto something with the emergence of Logan Diggs in that running game, especially this week, because what we talked about last week with Arkansas, what they want to do, they want to play a lot of single high safety, man up and challenge in the outside. Well, they tried it, and look what happened. Ole Miss plays a lot more cover 2, cover 3, tries to keep stuff a lot more underneath them. And so with that in mind, those shots may not be as available. And more than that, though, if you watch the film, and I do feel confident in this, Ole Miss's defensive front 7 is not the best. Tulane pushed him around. Alabama definitely pushed him around. And I think this LSU offensive line is significantly better than both. And that's not a slight to either. I think this LSU offensive line, you know how I feel about it. I think it's the best in years and years. So I think there is maybe some value here to coming out early and trying to establish some kind of ground control, make Ole Miss have to adjust to that, and then unleash, the bombs, the unleash the dogs and let those guys run free on the outside. But I could also see just playing your game, right? And come up and let Jaden make plays and throw. We'll see. But definitely the emergence of the run game has been and Diggs is getting that zone timing down the line. That's been a delight to see.
Do you buy it on the run game? Do you think it's a trend, or was that kind of just like a blip and you need to see more?
I buy that they can run it as effectively as they did last week because the offensive line. Now, against like an Alabama front seven, that won't be the case, right? But against the majority of fronts you face, you will have a big advantage in the trenches. I don't know that I buy, though, what I just said, that they'll actually like change their identity, right? Because partially that rushing success is coming from them throwing the ball so well. That teams are now having to respect that, and you kind of have them on their back heel, and then you're able to kind of run off of that. So this idea that they're just going to come out here and like run the ball first, that might be a step too far. It's just in terms of matchup and what Ole Miss likes to do, that is kind of interesting. Also, Ole Miss runs about, was it 8%? They run a risky amount of cover zero, and I'll be very interesting to see when those opportunities provide who wins, right? Does the rush get home? Is it well timed by Pete Golding, or does LSU sniff it out? Next thing you know, it's a dagger.
Now you study these guys pretty closely. Do you think Jaden will be able to is he gonna spot the zero and just bombs away in those moments, take advantage of those one-on-ones? You think he can take advantage of that?
I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't be able to, I guess, considering how much success, like I said, he's had on explosives this year. And when he's seen man-on-man coverage, he's no longer afraid, like last year, to take the shots. And it's really consistent what we had heard all of camp. It's just that after the Florida State game, we felt like, we were lied to. Well, now we have like a pretty good body of information that says we weren't lied to. But I never trust. I college quarterback can always get got. So it's not like, this ain't like one of these NFL elites in their prime where if you try it, like you're done. Like almost like 90% of the time. Like I still feel like it's probably like a coin flip. Because maybe the O-line screws up the protection, they allow a guy up the middle, and the clock's all of a sudden crazy sped up, and like Jaden's scrambling. Again, that's why I said let's see how Pete Golding times them up, because I could see him winning on some of those reps. Sure.
Yeah, because like in my NFL mind, when you say 8% cover zero, that seems like you're just committing suicide. Like that's insane.
I agree. I agree. I completely agree. And maybe I'm wrong on the 8%. Maybe it's a little high, but it was a surprisingly high number of cover zero snaps this year. But exactly. But you got to remember, these are college kids.
Yep.
And at both calling out the protections and the quarterback. Yeah. And so, like, okay, if you're playing Tulane and that's their backup quarterback, like, hell yeah, I'm going to make that kid prove that he's going to, that they can beat me on this. And so, in that context, it does start to make a little more sense.
T-Bob, what'd you think about the senior transfer, Jordan Jefferson, kind of emerging against Arkansas? And you mentioned not necessarily the best defenses in this matchup with Ole Miss and LSU. Can Jordan Jefferson make an immediate impact in this Ole Miss game?
Yeah, he should. It's funny, Brooke. It's actually something that we talked about on the show this week, because it wasn't just this last game. Jordan Jefferson's put out solid tape 4 games in a row. In fact, on Pro Football Focus right now, he is the 9th highest rated run defender in terms of defensive linemen in the country. So like he's objectively been very good. What has developed this week is an interesting conversation about rep allocation. Because you have your superstar Mason Smith, who is still kind of finding his way a little bit, like objectively just not playing bad, but not playing as well as Jordan Jefferson. And yet he maintains about a 2-to-1 advantage in reps. I'm not saying you have to start Jefferson. I understand that like superstar management is a thing as well. And both guys have a ton of value. Both guys need to play because a fresher D lineman is a better D lineman. But I would like to see Jefferson maybe start to even out those reps to a more like 50-50 standpoint, because ultimately, you want everything to be a meritocracy. If I play better than the person in front of me, then I get more reps. Like, that's how a team maintains faith in itself. That's how a team reaches its full potential. And again, objectively, I'm not opinion. George Jefferson's been awesome this year, and Mason Smith's been solid and getting better, but still finding his way.
Before we let you go, I'm just going to save this question for later, but it's definitely something to think about. And I think a lot of people have been talking about this. Look, the SEC West might still be up for grabs after this matchup for LSU. Ole Miss, they go 0-1 to start conference play against Alabama. I think Ole Miss is probably pissed off and is looking to prove something against LSU. So we'll hold that till next week. But T-Bob, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
All right, y'all, have a great week. And look, this weekend it could go either way. Don't feel great about it. But whatever. We'll break it down next week. Y'all take it easy.
Tulane is 3-1, coming off a 36-7 win over Nicholls. The Green Wave will now open up conference play against a new conference opponent, UAB, bright and early, 11 a.m. on Saturday. We'll see if the weather will cooperate. It was very nice this morning. Seemed like fall. We've got like a fall feel here with you adding the ghosts to the set. Yeah. So, hey, maybe it'll feel like Halloween season on Saturday. I know Tulane is probably hoping for that, but the good news is their quarterback is back. Michael Pratt was back. We did actually see all three quarterbacks in this game, Justin Ibieta as well as Kai Horton. Not the greatest welcome back for Michael Pratt. Interception. Look, I think he's still probably dealing with that knee injury. I'm not sure he's 100%. I was actually surprised to see him not only start against Nicholls, but play for as long as he did. But no matter what, he's back. I still have questions about the offensive line and pass protection, though. It seemed like Pratt needed to get rid of the ball a little too early sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, look, that happens. I thought he looked okay in this game. They're up against picking up some loose change here and had an easy win, kind of got the starters out early. So it was a good way to get back into the mix of things a little bit. But 18-23 overall. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that could have been better. I continue to be like really impressed by this receiver core. There's a lot of different weapons that can step up. And we didn't see a lot of our guy Jha'Quan in this game.
I know, we got to talk about that.
He got out early, kind of got a little bit of a day off again. That's kind of what it's like going against Nicholls a little bit. But they got the easy win here, and you kind of see it in the snap counts and stats a little bit. Brandon's back there huffing and puffing because he with the Nicholls.
Grad. Hey,
he with the Nicholls, but
look,
I mean, look, man.
It was not Southland strong this weekend, but no matter what, look, you mentioned the wide receivers. Lawrence Keys is lethal. Oh, yeah. I don't know, like him and Pratt. It's so smooth that watching them in the game, and Tulane's going to need that against UAB this weekend. That connection's going to have to continue to be seen, and add Jha'Quan to the mix. Yeah,
they're going to need to air it out a little bit probably. I mean, UAB can move the ball a little bit, so you might have to get some of your passing game on point. I think it should open up for them. And look, the I always say his name wrong, Brazel. Am I saying that right? He had another good game too. He had 4 catches, 42 yards, another game for him. So they're kind of diversifying that receiver core a little bit. And I like him in that mix because Keys and Jha'Quan are a little bit smaller in their burners. You kind of need that big body in there. He's starting to come on a little bit. So I like the signs that we're seeing from this receiver core for sure.
You mentioned UAB's offense. The big thing is, can Tulane keep pace with them? Look, UAB, yes, they got killed by Georgia, ULL, and Georgia Southern, but they put up 21 against the number 1 ranked team in the country. I mean, that's a tough task. They put up 21 against ULL, and they put up 35 against Georgia Southern. I believe all of those were losses, but when you're still staying in games like that, and look, they've Michael Pratt is a dual threat quarterback. So is their quarterback, Jacob Zeno. He has thrown for no less than 250 yards in every game this season, and he ranks 2nd nationally in completions per game. I mean, this defense is going to have their work cut out for them.
They look good this week, 4 picks. I mean, you got one from the linebackers, the rest from the secondary. I liked kind of how they took advantage of that. I think we're seeing good things. Their pass rush still looks good. I mean, they got some real players up front. So I do think this is a game that Tulane should win and will win. And I think that they're probably going to take care of business here. I don't want to put the cart before the horse or anything, but like this is a game where they should go out here and win if they are who we think they are.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with UAB. UAB is also trying to make a statement as well. And look, they're going to be coming in here at 11 a.m. hungry to get a win over Tulane. They're 1-3. I mean, they need to get back in the win column if they want to have any type of push in this new conference. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Tulane is trying to continue establishing dominance in the American after winning the conference championship last year. But Tulane's defense playing well. The run defense ranks 5th nationally. They're only allowing 62.8 rushing yards per game. Did have the 4 interceptions against Nichols. We'll see how they hold up against this quarterback, Jacob Zena. We'll bring in Jha'Quan Jackson to break that all down. Tulane wide receiver Jha'Quan Jackson back in studio after the Green Wave beat Nichols, getting ready for their first conference opponent, UAB, a new conference opponent. How are you guys feeling after the win?
Well, we feel great, we played a great game, we started slow, but at the end we finished the fourth quarter, Coach Nagel came in the second half, fired up and just getting on our butt because we played kind of bad in the beginning, but we fixed it in the end.
How much has Slade Nagel really helped kind of mold this offense? We'll get to Michael Pratt being back just in a little bit, but having consistency with the offensive coordinator is something you didn't have throughout your years at Tulane. Now that you've had Slade Nagel now for back-to-back season, how much has he helped maybe put his own fingerprint on this offense and make it easy for all of you guys to kind of open up the game a little bit?
It helped everybody a lot, just having him second year in a row as an OC. We know what he's going to call and how you want it, and just the same offense, but different ways you can give people the ball. And just the guy, I've been knowing him since he recruited me out of high school, and just he been the same person since he was a tight ends coach to now he's the OC, and that's the one thing I like about him. He didn't change, but he get on our butt sometimes when we mess up, but he want the best for us, He go through the scripts and everything with us every Friday night, what they expect from us, and he gonna keep it real. Like, he ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing just because you're a starter. He's gonna get on your butt. Just say if I mess up, he gonna yell at me. Pratt don't make the right read, he gonna get on Pratt butt. He'll hold everybody accountable, and the coaches like him too. He's a coach that open minded. Like other coaches on the staff can say they see this and see that, and he'll sit there and listen instead of be like, nah, I won't run my stuff. But that's one of the things that I like about him.
So he kind of lets the coaches have an input. Does he ever let the players, you're obviously a veteran on the team, do you ever see something and go up to him and be like, hey, run this is open?
It was funny yesterday. We were just during kickoff yesterday, we was talking with them, the receivers and the quarterback, and we were just talking about different plays that we seen that the NFL did and how the Miami Dolphins offense was electric.
Cooking Denver
this last week. And then not really. Probably Michael Pratt brings some things to the table that I really don't know, but I think he do because he's a quarterback trying to get better, and have some things that he like and see if Coach Nagel like. But Coach Nagel probably willing to do some things. He's the type of guy to practice, and if it work, it work. If it don't, he throwing it out, But he's open minded.
Yeah.
It's fun to be with him each and every day.
How did you guys feel like just getting Pratt back, settling in? Was everything just kind of right back to business as usual, or is it going to be kind of like a little bit of a resettling in process?
Nah, it's just getting back into start where we finished. When he the first game South Alabama, he looks good. You got to keep telling him slide, man. And I'm glad to have him back out there. The leadership, the energy. The few weeks that he didn't play, you kind of see that he was kind of sad a little bit, but at the end of the time, I always was there to pick him up. And you can see if you go back and watch, like on the sideline, he was always uplifting Kai, no matter if it was positive or negative. If we were in a 3-and-out or we scored a touchdown, he was always in Kai ear. What did you see? What you could do better? And that's one of the things I like about Michael. He's a great leader, and he always there for anybody, no matter the situation.
And then just with you guys, your trio at wide receiver getting into conference play, is there a defense that you feel like can slow all three of you guys down at the same time, or is that kind of mission impossible for a defense?
Yeah, I say yeah.
Yeah, which part?
Our defense.
Yeah.
Then the wide receivers. The only way for somebody to stop us is ourselves. I don't think nobody can stop us. The speed that we got, over the top, underneath, that we just can't be stopped. But that's one of the things we take pride in at Tulane. We're not the biggest, but we fast all the way around from every position on our team. And that's one of the things Coach has to work on all summer, like speed. So we always hit our top speed on Mondays, because you always got to hit your top speed, because if you don't, you're going to get slower each week.
Who's the fastest guy in the group?
In our group?
Uh-huh.
Dang. We got a guy, Speedy, sophomore wide receiver. The Keys, then me. That's what I go with.
You letting someone beat you?
Man,
You're losing some foot races out there, man? What's going on?
I don't know. It's different. If you go about 40 dash, it might be me, but 100, it might be them. I can't hold it for that long.
What is the practice schedule? Because that's kind of interesting that Monday you guys start with top end speed. How does the rest of the week flow out as far as getting prepared for the game?
Mondays is watching the film that from the Saturday that we played and going over practice, special teams, and helmets practice, and the other one's gonna be uppers and helmets, then a walkthrough. Coach Fritz does a great job of making sure that we all are fresh for the game that week, and just the days that we gotta go hard. The days gotta take off. He's serious about that. Like everything we do at Tulane, he's serious, from the massages to the chiropractor to the pool workout to rehab, the training, all of that for the training room. So everything he do is, it got way better as the years went on, like being a coach back in the days, they didn't have all of that. Now we got all the resources. We can use everything to make sure the guys body right, because without that, you're not be able to perform well on the field. So he take pride in doing that and making sure that we straight. Anything we need, he'll try to get for us.
Now that you guys have broken down the film, what is UAB's defense doing well? They've had some pretty tough matchups. I think their 1-3 record doesn't necessarily reflect the talent they have on that team. What have you seen specifically from their defense? Maybe some success that they've had in the first 4 weeks.
DB's long and quick, fast. They play together. They all in one sync, and just like you said, just because their record is 1-3, it doesn't show that on film. They play hard. They play through your hands and everything. So our goal is just to go in there and do what we do. We execute, and then we're going to have a great game.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you guys to open up conference play and kind of put your stamp on things. UAB is probably going to be one of the better teams in the conference. What's the message from Coach Fritz this week other than just the 1-0 mentality?
Preparation. Let me say preparation is key. The way you prepare for that week, for that game Saturday, it's gonna show on Saturday. So you gotta do the right things, from film to on the field to off the field to meetings. Everything that you learn, you gotta prepare to win on Saturdays. He really says 1-0 every day, so that's the part of being 1-0, preparing and doing the right thing. So he's just being on our butt each and every day to make sure we do the right thing. And just like he said, one of the things he said is, when we come to this conference, every game is going to be close. So the last person, you got to do everything right. Be disciplined. Be disciplined. If you're not, that piece that you don't be disciplined going to come up and end the game, and sometimes you fall short. So he try to make sure that we know that. And strain, when you're tired, you got to strain. You got to strain, because if you strain during practice in the game, when you get tired, you're going to be ready to go.
Do you feel like you guys are the team that's disciplined and can kind of get into the conference play and kind of control your own fate? Like, do you feel like if you guys handle your business, you can take care of business every single week in the conference?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We practice all of that, like adversity, everything, and different situations that goes on in football life that Coach Fritz hit on everything that you can name of, the onside kicks, the hands, to this situation, 2 minutes left or 43 seconds left with one timeout, and you on the opposite 49, you got to drive down there and score and then get a 2-point conversion. So we work on all of that, just like a real game, like a situation, to make sure that it's just not like a shocker when the game comes and we be like, oh, crap, we never did this. So it's like a muscle memory every time we get into it. And, there's a lot of games that we won in the past. It was like we had to go tempo. Last year we played Ole Miss, we had to get back in the game. We went tempo. We went down the field, got the ball back down the field again. So it's not new to us. It's just he prepares us well to be the best players on the field, and the coaches prepare us too.
You mentioned Pratt being back. Just curious what you saw from him in his first start back. He's probably not 100% yet with his knee. How is he feeling, and what are some of the things you saw from him? Kind of dealing with a little bit of offensive line struggles, but being able to see Pratt come in and find some success.
I've seen the same thing before he left, the excitement and going out there, being him, just he's getting better now. He's sliding. I tell him every time before we go out there for the series, slide if you need to slide. But
yeah, stop taking hits.
When he first threw the first touchdown, I said, man, first thing I said, he's back. So I'm glad to have him out there, and just to see the smile on the face and the guys who blocking for him and who catching the pass and who running. One time he pulled it, one time it ran, and I just see somebody behind him, and I was about to go block him. Got back to the sideline. Coach said we don't block people behind us, but I said, look, I don't want nobody hitting his legs. Can't hit them legs. Nah, we need he got to make sure that he's safe. But that's I could talk about it all day, man. I love to do that. Everybody around him, like he lifts everybody up, you know. Just as I said, I told him today, I said, man, your birthday Saturday. We got to turn up on the field, man. We got to celebrate it on the field, and then, you know, whatever after the game happens after the game.
Got anything special in the playbook this week?
Oh man, we got a lot of special plays.
All right.
Man. Hey, you see here a lot of end zone.
Okay.
End zone. We might well leave our pillow in the end zone.
Uh-oh.
You know.
That's big talk from a guy who didn't find the end zone this Saturday.
Hey, but yeah, you're not always going to get in the end zone each and every week. You know, just play your role. The coaches are going to do the right things when the playmakers need the ball here. They'll get it to the playmakers, you know. But, you know, everybody got to eat in this offense, you know. Just like last year, Tajay had a lot of the carries and everything. But this year, the offense is all around, you know. Mm-hmm. This guy got the ball, the other guy got the ball. So it's put defense on their toes to really play to their side of their role and be like responsible. I got the running back on this. So it ain't about just worrying about this running back the whole game. You know, you got to worry about Keys on the right, this receiver on the left, the one in the middle of the field, and then you got to worry about the running back on the outside. So it got them head spinning. So Coach Nick and the coaching staff do a great job of putting pieces together and putting people in the right position to make plays.
Can you really learn anything about your team when you just kind of kill the opponent like you guys did against Nichols this week?
When you say that, what you mean? Like, can you learn?
Like you guys just kind of dominated them start to finish. Is there anything you learn about yourself, or you just kind of blew them out? And like,
to be honest, we didn't even like Nichols. We didn't blow them out. Like like I said, we started the game slow.
You didn't play the fourth quarter. The teams you guys played 3 quarters.
But still, going back to how we started the first series, I don't even think we scored on the first series. Mm-hmm. So for every game that we had, we scored on. Like we look at it, every series that we had since the season started, we scored on every first series. Yeah. And this game we didn't, you know, and that's one of the things Coach Nagel was upset about because you got to make a statement in the beginning of the game. Like we got to go down there. Every time we get in the red zone, we got to go 4-point plays. We got to score. We got to put it in the end zone. That's our motto. Put it in the end zone when you go in the red zone.
That seems like one of them fake things coaches get pissed about because there's nothing else to get mad about. But yeah, I feel you on that though. You guys want to be perfect start to finish. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have standards. It's what are some of the standards for Slade Nagel? Score early.
Oh, it's you got 5 is the E's. 5 E's, I think is edge, execution, explosives. I forget the other ones. Every day, every play. That's one, and I said edge already.
Yep.
I forgot the other one. Dang. But it's 5 E's, and we got to hit all of them. You know, edge, execution, every day, every play, and explosives.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
That. And we go about that. We talk about that every Friday night, and just got to make sure. Effort. That's the biggest thing he worry about. Just what you do when you don't get the ball. Like if the ball run to the right and the receiver on the backside, they go get the far safety. You gonna just jog or you gonna run full speed to make a touchdown block?
Got to bring the 5 E's this weekend. Bring your hard hat. It's gonna be a good one in Yulman Stadium as UAB comes to take on Tulane. The last time UAB was in town, you guys lost that game. This is now new setting, new conference. UAB comes into the American. Jha'Quan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.